know if I can laugh. Like it's
And we're live.
All right. Welcome to Over the Ledge Live, the podcast, the number one, and some say only, political satire show based solely on the Texas legislature. Over the Ledge gives you a behind-the-scenes look at the shenanigans of the Texas legislature by decoding political headlines and legislators' behavior into easy-to-understand mom jokes. We're just as funny, but not as famous yet. Let's meet our guest tonight. First up, Aaron Salinas, an actor, writer, director, and podcaster with passion for good times, fun vibes, and the Spurs glory days. You can catch him on his podcast, Shame Watch, or streaming video games on Twitch with The Con Save. Please welcome Aaron Salinas.
what's happening, y'all. Sad times in the Texas Ledge. Can't wait to talk about it.
Who's your favorite Spur?
Of all time?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, it's an only an hour-long podcast, but I mean, Tippy Top, we got to go with Timmy. But I have a really soft spot for Manu. I mean, Manu Ginobili brought the Euro step. He, a Güero Latino. Hey. We don't desecrate the name that is Manu, okay? I mean, come on. I mean, he's old man Spur. You just gotta love him. But I a big fan of Manu, but Timmy is always king. And you can't say anything bad about Timmy, Peter. There's nothing you can say bad about. He dresses bad. That's it.
Our second comedian tonight is Peter Liu. Peter is one of Boston's fastest rising comics. A biomedical engineer by training, he makes drugs by day and laughs at night. His comedy is quick-witted, sharp, and insightful. Welcome, Peter.
Hello. Thank you. Happy to be here. I should know that I know nothing about Texas legislature. I can't even say the word, so that's where I'm at. If you said Boston legislature, I would know equally less. So.
That's how they pronounce it in Boston.
Do you pay any attention to politics whatsoever?
I know the names. Like Ted Cruz is like, I don't know. All right, who's the equivalent like useless player? Tim Duncan, right? That's like the same thing.
Wow, I didn't know it was going to get.
We're gonna have problems tonight.
I'm just kidding. No one has anything against Tim Duncan. Okay, Tim Duncan he brings money to the bank.
Exactly. And championships.
He's such a nice guy in my mind. Okay, moving on before we have a rumble.
Welcome, Peter. Okay, next, our very special guest for this episode. I didn't write this. Jonathan Connors. Jonathan has worked in both the Texas House of Representatives and the Texas Senate, focusing on health and human services policy and budget, perhaps an oxymoron in Texas. That was his attempt at a joke.
What's going on?
He now works as a lobbyist focusing on healthcare policy. Please welcome Jonathan Connors.
Yay!
Hello. Thanks for having me. Stephanie said that you guys were supposed to have Representative Tony Rose, so thank you for dropping 1,000 steps below and taking me on as a lame substitute for Representative Rose. Happy to be here.
We do believe in giving chances, even
Thank you.
even to the ridiculously downtrodden. Yeah.
Wow.
I love
on
that
this show.
There's some light coming in that's hitting the side of you, Jonathan. That kind of
I know it's hitting my bald spot here.
It's beautiful.
It's the way the sun's coming in the window.
It's beautiful. I do really appreciate you being here. You and I have known each other for a little while. You're one of the funniest men I know at the Capitol, other than those who make policy. So thank you.
All right, finally, we have the creator and the ruler of the Over the Ledge Empire, who needs no introduction, Stephanie for Espresso Shots with My Venti Chiarello.
Oh, thank you. I am super excited to be here. I expected to be at work today, but the House and the Senate are angry with each other.
What?
Peter, there's one chamber called the House and another chamber called the Senate, and they fight. And so the Senate has not been passing enough of the House bills. So unexpectedly, the speaker just gaveled out till Sunday. We thought we were going to have a calendar Friday, Saturday. So I can't tell you how excited I was today to get my car inspected.
Exciting times.
So exciting. Even more exciting are the jokes I'm about to tell you about this week in the Texas Ledge. Remember that laughing is encouraged,
What
but
about
not
crying?
required
Right.
because awkward silences. With a week left in the legislature, that was pretty well
We're just
played.
in
Okay,
sync.
That was,
Nice.
that was honestly good.
thank you. Okay. With a week left in the legislative session, many bills will thrive or fail based on strategic committee choices about which bill moves forward to the governor's desk. Let's start again, where he has 1 month to sign or veto. If he does neither, the bill automatically becomes law August 30th. It's kind of like when you forget to cancel your Disney Plus auto renewal and you're stuck with another season of The Bald Falcon and Winter Storm Soldier.
I really
Loving it.
thought you were going to say the governor's nest. And for a minute, I thought that's like what his
Oh.
chambers were called. And I was like, I mean, it kind of works because he's kind of looks like a vulture, kind of.
Oh my God, he does.
A little bit.
A bald eagle,
yeah.
you might say. Governor Greg Abbott signed one of the nation's strictest abortion bans into law for pregnancies as early as 6 weeks in a proud room full of men and a select few women who have never witnessed a female orgasm. Okay, now it's important to note abortion is still legal in Texas today.
It is?
Double whammy.
Well,
Yeah.
as of today, we have a couple more months.
I thought he
The
signed.
bill doesn't go into effect until September. And of course, the law is likely to be challenged in courts. Representing the state of Texas in the courts will be Ken Paxton in basketball shorts, and women everywhere will be represented by Lola Bunny from Space Jam.
The old one.
Is that too old? Do y'all not know what Space Jam is?
Excuse me. I was about to say, go on and slam and get in the jam. Because best soundtrack of any film. I will put that. I will put money on that.
I'm going to
No,
yes and you.
Yeah.
All I'm picturing is Timmy D and Ken Paxton on the court now in basketball shorts.
Obliterated.
That's all I've got in my head right now with the Wile E. Coyote and Manu on the sides. I mean,
Paxton
I'm here for
doesn't
that.
stand a chance.
I'm here for that.
I understand there is a new Space Jam coming out actually with
And it
LeBron.
looks like trash.
It
Because
does.
the first one was so awesome.
I mean, the bar
For the
isn't set
90s?
very high.
Wait,
I haven't seen it.
abortion has been illegal in Texas this whole time?
No, but
No.
it's about to be with this
Oh,
law
they're bringing
that
it
just
back.
passed.
Okay.
Yeah, they're bringing back the ban.
Like
Oh, it's-
Space Jam, the reboot. Got it.
With all kind of bells and whistles, you can sue people. It's just really very cool.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so
But-
Peter, you actually could just decide to sue any one of us here because you think we aided and abetted someone who had an abortion. So you could sue us in court, no proof. You don't have to have been impacted by the decision at all. Ready to make some money? Because I know who I'm suing first.
Who are you suing
Shel-
first?
Shelby Slauson, the author of the bill, because you know that people only pass bills because they have a personal story about it.
Oh, that's true. Didn't Governor Abbott put through one of the bills that you can only sue for so much for, liability on someone's property because that's how he got
Yes,
injured?
except
Oh,
he.
Right? Am I right in saying that or no? Am
You are. I
just
was
pull-
going to let Jonathan or whoever's
Oh,
about
sorry.
to talk. All right, we're moving on. House Democrat Harold Dutton, chairman of the House Education Committee, allowed bills targeting transgender athletes and banning critical race theory to move forward despite opposition from his own party. It was petty revenge for his own bills not moving forward, like when your grandfather puts a padlock on the fridge because someone drank his natty light.
He did?
Yes, he did. He actually brought a bill that did not pass back up in committee just so it could pass.
Just for revenge.
Yes, he
And now-
said, my bill dying on the floor is going to hurt a lot more kids than this bill will.
Yep. Now he's
Jesus
the
Christ.
sponsor of that now.
And we had him on our show
Listen to
not
that.
too long ago,
Yes.
and he
Oh,
seems
really?
so reasonable.
great.
Yeah.
He had a lot of interesting things to say.
All right,
I'd say
Governor Abbott. Go.
I'd say my grandfathers were PBR and Milwaukee's best. So
Any Pabst Blue out there? What's the
Pabst Blue.
shit beer in Boston, Peter?
I don't know. There's a lot of breweries, so it depends what you're into.
I thought you were looking at your refrigerator.
No.
Okay, Governor Abbott also signed a bill that prevents cities aiming to reduce emissions from banning natural gas as a fuel source in new buildings. I gotta say, if Governor Abbott is such a fan of natural gas, has he tried Taco Bell's new beefy mini quesadilla? Meet me in the food court after this podcast, Governor Abbott. Bada boom! As public health orders relax in face of improving vaccination numbers, State Senator Bob Hall can't stop himself from spreading conspiracy theories about the vaccine. Listen, I don't want to be turned into a guinea pig, explained Hall. Literally, if you think I'm getting on that hamster wheel, you're crazy. No, you're crazy, he said to his hand puppet Lester. A bill which could finally provide Texas prisons with air conditioning. That's right, we don't air condition our prisons. Cooling cells that routinely reach over 100 degrees in the summer is on track to become law. But Attorney General Ken Paxton still opposes the concept that not dying from a heat stroke is a human right. Of course, Ken Paxton doesn't understand human rights. He's not human. He's actually a lizard.
I just want to point out there was never any concern that I had any intention of going to prison, but knowing that they don't have AC kind of just solidified that I'm never jaywalking again. I'm never risking it. Like, I can't be sweating.
I mean, can you imagine why our recidivism rates are so terrible? Like, hey, let me make you really uncomfortable all the time, but then go do good.
Wait, hold up. Do they have windows, though?
Like these teeny little slivers that you couldn't escape through. I don't know, Jonathan, you were in prison for that thing you did.
I was, and that's where I lost all the weight. It was like a sauna. So I went in 300, came out 140 looking good.
Yeah.
And that was mainly the heat, not the gym.
Man.
I don't want to sexually harass you, Jonathan, but you're looking fine.
Thank you. It's the Texas prison system.
For all that heat weight.
It's cheaper than 24-hour fitness, too.
Is that
Or Peloton or whatever else you want to do.
Have you been doing Jenny Craig? No, I did a nickel and Sam
Houston.
and Sam Houston.
Yes.
All right, Texas educators will no longer be able to teach critical race theory in their classrooms. Wait a second, Texas taught critical race theory? That's like saying Texas taught medically accurate sex ed or something.
They did it. I learned about abstinence. Never learned about a wee-wee or a hoo-ha.
And the fact that you said wee-wee and hoo-ha, we have so much further to go with you. So much.
Kingsville.
College educated, folks.
Okay, I'm glad to see that after a winter storm where Texans literally froze to death in their homes, the Texas legislature passed much needed energy grid protection legislation. Strike that, all we got out of Winter Storm Uri was an abortion ban. Glad to see the humanity in the legislature for people who are homeless. Not only did they fail to pass any legislation that would actually assist people who are homeless get into homes, they told them that it's now illegal to be homeless. This is like telling someone who has lung cancer that smoking is bad and also is illegal, P.S. no cancer treatment for you. And finally, all I can say to those Christians in the Texas legislature is they are really killing it. And by it, I mean people who are homeless who froze to death while camping in the streets during Winter Storm Uri, because why be warm and cozy in a home when you can camp under 183?
Is that a highway?
Yes. Yes.
Boston.
It
It could have been a temperature. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. Burn. There you go.
Wait.
All right.
That's
Stephanie.
what's happening in the Texas ledge.
Stephanie, I love the way you keep telling jokes, even when nobody laughs. You
Me
do, you
too.
too, Rello. You do, you. Okay, audience. Let me tell you how this podcast works. Our two guest comedians, Aaron Salinas and Peter Liu, are competing against each other for the coveted Most Knowledgeable Comedian in Austin award. This award is given to the comedian who knows the most about Texas politics according to the outcome of the games on our show. Stephanie's got the award right here. Whoever wins also gets a picture of himself with our special guest, Jonathan Connors. Jonathan will post on social media the picture and the announcement that the winning comedian is the most knowledgeable comedian in Austin. Did we ask Joe if he's okay with this?
No, and by Joe, you mean Jonathan. No, we didn't neither.
I was wondering why
My
I said
7
Joe.
followers on Twitter will be very excited. My mom,
Oh,
my
yeah.
dad, my sisters, my wife.
Wait, is that trophy like a small bowling pin? What is that?
Why, yes, it is.
Okay, all right. It's either that or like the toilet bar thing. I wasn't sure which one it was.
It
What are they-
is a bowling pin. I'm trying to pretend that it's a gavel. Oh, that
Okay.
looks good.
Okay, all right.
Uh-huh. I see.
Dude, yeah, if you squint your eyes, cock your head a little bit, and just kind of back up, it looks nothing like a
Yeah.
gavel.
It's on my to-do list to buy a gavel.
The separation of church and state has been a basic principle of our democracy since our nation's founding. Unfortunately, your very own Texas legislature often sees this as a challenge to see who can cross that barrier the farthest. This legislative session is no different. In Church versus State, our comedians will take a multiple choice quiz on the hottest religious bills in the legislature. As always, our comedians can ask our special guests for help a total of 3 times apiece between the 2 games they play. And Jonathan, please feel free to jump in at any time, but please don't kill our bill. Let's play Church versus State and see how much our comedians know about the religious zealousness of the Texas legislature.
So Jonathan is our call a friend and Google.
Yes,
okay.
but
Yeah,
you can
I've
only
got-
ask him. Go ahead.
I've got the Texas legislature online where I can pull bills up. I've got Wikipedia ready. I've got the Constitution. So whatever you need, Pete, I got you.
I don't think I'm ready for this type of power.
That's a lot. I will
Who
say
can
I
I sue
was
right now?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Multiple choice. Here's your statement. We're going to start with Peter as our guest. Prayer in schools is a popular topic right now with right-wing politicians. They use it to gear up their evangelical voting base. I read that all wrong. Prayer in schools is a popular topic right-wing politicians use to gear up their evangelistic voting base. This may explain why State Rep Mays Middleton filed a bill, House Bill 2399, that would allow school districts to adopt which of the following policies? A, require the reading of Bible verses before school every day. B, require every campus in the school district to provide a period of prayer and readings from the Bible each day. I'm not even drinking this time. Would allow schools to rename themselves for Christian martyrs or saints. Or D, would allow school buildings to be used as places of worship outside of school hours and regularly scheduled events.
I really hope it's C.
Wow, this is hard. You didn't know there were like 4 multiple choices? This is like taking the SATs all over again, except the person giving you the question screws it up every single time. And you're like, what? What's the question again? Okay.
It's serious. This is serious.
Way to keep you down, Peter. I'm just trying to keep you down.
It takes focus.
It's like the SAT keeps correcting itself. Like, so what? No. Hold on. Scratch that. Go back.
Okay. I would ask for the question again, but I only have like an hour here, so let's. All right, I'm gonna go with A because that one seemed like it would be something they would do.
You're really close, except it's B.
Damn
Require
it, that was
every
my second
campus.
question. Answer.
Well, I didn't read the question very well, so I think you should get 0.25 points anyway. Require every campus in the school to provide a period of prayer and readings from the Bible each day.
How's that different from A?
Requires the reading of Bible verses versus providing a period.
Okay. One's mandatory and the other one is providing a period that's optional.
Right. And a period is only, once a month for 4 to 5 days.
Okay. Is that what a period is? I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right.
Is it just the Bible? Or can it be like the Quran or the Torah?
What do you think, Texas citizen?
Question 2?
Jonathan, do you know? We lost Jonathan.
Can you repeat that? I had to run and get my
I forgot we
charger.
had a resource. I could have asked him.
I know.
You can only ask him a couple of times, so you might want to say that.
Is it just the Bible that they would provide a moment of prayer for, or does it include like the Torah or the Quran or any?
What about the Scientology book? What's that one called?
I opened up the bill as soon as Stephanie said it, but it's 7 pages long, and we don't got to
get into.
I'm not going to read that.
Okay, Benedict, darling, please look this up and let us know in a moment. Okay, moving on. Aaron, the recent coronavirus-related restrictions placed on religious gatherings have drawn the ire of many of Texas's evangelical Christians. In response to the state legislature, come on, Benedict, commas. In response, the state legislature has passed SJR 27, which would propose a constitutional amendment to do which of the following? A, prevent political subdivisions from prohibiting or limiting religious services. Require all local political subdivisions, this means like a city, to display the 10 Commandments. C, require all cities to quote Christian scripture before official meetings. D, require county courthouses to have a religious monument display similar to the one at the state capitol.
Oh, B and D are stupid, but that kind of tells me that's a good chance it's those. I want to say B because remember 10 Commandments came up about something. It could have also been Easter, and it's what my mama had on in the background at Easter, so I don't know. I want to say B though.
You would be wrong. It's A.
Oh, hell.
Prevent cities from prohibiting or limiting religious services. Remember how gathering in large groups was bad because of COVID, and we said you can't go to church because that's a lot of people in a space. They're saying, nope, you can't do that anymore. Just make out with each other at your Scientology places.
Why this state, man?
I don't
I
know.
think the Supreme Court upheld that. There was a case.
Oh, great. Okay, we're just moving on. Peter, I'm going to read this so well and so slowly for you.
We're ready.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Representative Mays Middleton, his real name, has also authored House Bill 2401 with the intent of protecting religious liberty in Texas. The bill would, among other things, prevent any state officer or employee from enforcing the separation of church and state doctrine. The bill has which of the following titles? A, protection of religious liberty from communism. B, protection of religious liberty from activist judges. C, protection of religious liberty from nativist jurisprudence. D, protection of religious liberty from media slander.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay, well, now, all right. What? First of all,
and look, Jonathan wants you to call him so.
All right, Jonathan. What do the words in the last sentences of the answers for B and C mean?
That would be activist judge or nativist jurisprudence.
What are those things?
Nobody knows. That's why they used them in the bill.
Okay.
What's the answer you always fill in? We're talking about SAT. If you don't know the answer, you just guess.
You pick the funniest one.
Yeah, you can straight up tell him, Jonathan. You don't have to.
Oh, you drink the water. Okay. It's not.
Oh, no.
All right. The communism sounds funniest, so it doesn't sound like that's the real answer. The last one was, what was the last one?
Media slander. Freedom.
Media slander. All right. They don't want to be slandered. All right. That's okay. Maybe. I don't know. Is it communism? Because that's funny. I hope it's communism. That's too funny to be true, but it could be true because it's tech. I'm going to go with communism. Is it communism?
Well, now, Jonathan, I mean, he told you what it was.
Okay. He was drinking
Is this backwards?
That's C. Oh, I thought you were. I was like,
Sorry.
drink the water. What do you drink the Kool-Aid? What? C. What?
You're right.
Nativist.
It's C, protection of religious liberty from nativist jurisprudence, which none of us know what that means.
Hold on. Can anyone see us, or is it just an audio podcast?
Everybody
They
can
can-
see you.
Yeah,
They can
you.
see us. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
So,
There's-
Peter, you will be happy to know that there is another bill that would create the Victims of Communism Day here in Texas, in like
Right.
November 7th or something.
how do you qualify? I'd like to apply.
Oh, burn. Some awkward chuckles here. Okay, Aaron. Social media companies have often been a target for conservatives due to their need to police their sites for hateful or otherwise violent posts. State Rep Jeff Kaysen has proposed House Bill 3001 as a counter to their power, and it would do which of the following? Require social media companies to hire a spiritual advisor to moderate potentially offensive religious posts. Prevent social media companies from taking down any social media posts related to the free exercise of religion. C, require social media companies to change the code of their algorithms to exclude religious posts from automatic censorship. Or D, give citizens the right to sue social media companies, if the company censors or disfavors their religious speech.
It's definitely not C. They don't know the word algorithm.
Damn, that helped me for real though. Jonathan, I'm not seeing any reflections on your glasses.
I'm on page 3 of the bill. Hang on one second. Let me see here.
And let's just take this opportunity to tell you the period was only for the Bible. You may not read any other religious texts.
Oh,
Damn. Okay.
I feel like the show would be more fair if there was another person with the Bible open, like Jonathan with just the Bible. All the Bibles.
I kind of
Mariah?
want to say it's D because that feels like the most access to the people, but Jonathan kind of groaned at that.
I'm trying to remember the order of the answers that Stephanie gave.
Spiritual advisor. You can't take them down, change the algorithm, sue the social media companies.
Oh, yeah. Then I was wrong.
D?
What is it, Jonathan?
Isn't it D?
Is it D?
It is D. Good job.
Woohoo.
Damn it, Aaron. I
Two.
thought you and I were both going to be on this losing streak.
I
Now I
think,
got to try and shit. Ah.
Peter, you're ahead by 0.25 points because Stephanie.
That's
gave
what's up.
That's right.
Yeah, overachiever.
I'm up by negative 7.5. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, there's another hummingbird. Bless his little heart. Okay, if you didn't know already, Texas conservatives felt that many of the coronavirus restrictions attacked freedom of religion. State Rep Cole Hefner, you might have heard about him in the news for other reasons lately, but we won't talk about that, has sought to remedy this with House Bill 3901, which would do which of the following? A, prohibit any public official from restricting the occupancy capacities for places of worship. All right, you can't limit the people at church. You can't make people go through sensitivity training. Exempt all religious institutions from having to listen to disaster orders, or create a citizens board to review public officials for potential infringements on individuals' freedom of religion. So you can't limit how many people in a church. You can't go under sensitivity training if you have violated freedom of religion. Exempt all religious institutions from any disaster order. Or D, a citizen review board to pretty much stone anyone who offended you.
All right, so 2 and 3 sound like they're too much. 4 sounds like it's too. I don't know. Okay, so So we're fighting COVID with Jesus aura, right? That's what we're saying? Okay.
That's Texas, baby.
That's the name of our
I'm
show.
going with 1 on this one. 1-A seems like it makes sense, right? It's like, hey, this is my little dome of chakras. You can't tell me how many people I can put in my dome. So let's go with A. Let's go.
You're
Hold
right,
on, wait.
you
Before
got
I
it.
go with A,
Oh.
okay. No, yeah, let's go with A. I was gonna consult Jonathan about the Bible, but it's fine. All right.
It's
No,
A.
it's,
You got it.
Yeah, we're pro business.
Boom. Nailed it.
I'm glad that you're admitting that the church is a business, Jonathan. I also
I
want
just
you to
said
know
the
that we have
state is
spent
pro-business.
30 minutes on one game. I've really got to do better at reading words. Okay, Aaron. Conservatives love to malign higher education for its liberal bias and imposition of anti-religious views. State Rep Matt Schaefer has sought to fix this with House Bill 4271, which would do which of the following? A, require all colleges to offer courses in biblical studies, whether they are secular or not. B, ban any instruction on the performance of an abortion, including the administration of abortion-inducing drugs. C, establish quotas for conservative professors at all state institutions. Or D, require all hiring committees to sign affidavit swearing that they are not basing hiring decisions based on religious or political views.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really remember the question fully because I got caught up on the word malign. I was like, oh, what does
Good
that
word.
mean? I'm like, is that like they're
Bad
like
mouth.
laying down with them, or like they're not really cut up? And then by the time I was like, oh shit, you were on C. So I'm gonna. I don't think it's D. And I really only heard C. So- let's fuck it, dude. B.
Right. You're right. That's how we go after higher ed.
Really? It's B?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
kind
what
of
I'm
think it was all of the above, but I know it's B.
They all felt possible. They
Yeah.
like it's kind of snuck in there somewhere, but I'll take it. B's get degrees or something. I don't know.
These get degrees. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Steve Toth and his anti-critical race theory, but we're going to skip that one. Amy, where are they? How did we do?
Okay, well, they have 2-2, but you gave Peter the 0.25, so technically Peter is ahead by
Okay.
a quarter of a point.
All right. I'll try to give some more bonus questions. Let's move on
More
right to the next
nepotism.
game. More
Towards me, though,
nepotism.
not towards Aaron, because then it evens out.
Okay.
Hey, show off knowing what the word nepotism means. I'm still like on the line. Chill out over there. Damn.
Malign, your line.
Hey, that's good.
Amy, next game.
Yeah, whose malign is it anyway?
Hey.
Next game. I hope our comedians brushed up on their history because they will need it for our next quiz. In Church versus State History Edition, our comedians will answer true or false questions about the history of the separation of church and state in the U.S. Hopefully, a few of our favorite fans in the legislature, and by fans, I mean you, Briscoe, tune in to learn. All right, Stephanie, let's play Church versus State History Edition.
First, quick story about Briscoe Kane. And remember, I never like to make fun of people for how they look, right?
But
Like,
he's an exception.
he's an exception because he has such bad policies. So on the floor the other day, they're honoring a representative who died of COVID. Everybody's getting kind of teary-eyed. My boss gets up there, and when you're watching the TV, you can only see the front mic. You can't see what they're looking at. So my boss is saying about another representative, I remember when you were that size. And he points, and we don't know who he pointed at. But of course, everyone in the office is like, did he point at Briscoe Kane? Because he's really little. But really, he pointed at Briscoe Kane's son, who was on the floor that day. Isn't that a good story? I have
And
more.
what's really funny is they're both the same size. Like
Bless that man's heart. Bless that man's heart. Okay.
he looks like his underwear is like 3 sizes too small. Like, and he just still chooses to wear them, and he's just in constant discomfort.
Yeah.
Get that man some Hanes, is all I'm saying.
I will send them to him immediately. Okay, these are also fill in the blank questions, FYI. First one to you, Peter. The
they're open-ended now? Oh, shit.
just this one, just this first one. Okay, so fill in the blank. The fill in the blank amendment of the Constitution of these great United States guarantees the freedom of religion, speech, petition, and assembly.
Ah, shit. That's... Okay, wait, hold on. Jonathan, what's the First Amendment? What's that one do? Oh, wow, these come up on screen. This is way better. This is much easier. Okay, go ahead.
I think you just answered your own question.
Yeah, it's the first one.
All right, very good. True.
Nice.
Yeah. Woo!
You're in Boston. You can feel the amendments.
That's right. Yeah.
Right down the road.
All
there.
the way from Faneuil Hall. I feel it every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so the First Amendment, quoted directly, says, this is to you, Aaron, this act shall be known as the separation of church and state. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. True or false? Oh,
This
way to
act shall
go.
be known as the separation of church and state. Congress shall make no law. Shit. This act shall be known as the separation of church and state. Why am I repeating it like it's going to make a difference?
I think it's. I don't know 100%, but I think it's false because I think separation of church and state actually isn't said anywhere in the Constitution. But if I'm wrong, then I'm going to look like an idiot. So I don't know.
Don't they
This
already
one's all you, Aaron.
I'm trying to think if
Thomas Jefferson had said stuff. I meant to read more when Stephanie told me there's going to be church and state stuff on here, but I got too busy at work and
Too busy to prep for the podcast.
oh,
I'm going to say false because I don't think some of these words existed yet.
You're right, and Jonathan is right. Separation of church and state is not said anywhere in the Constitution.
Well
Mhm.
done.
Kudos, Jonathan.
Yeah.
8th grade.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. You're almost in 9th grade, Jonathan, and we're really proud of all you've done. Okay, so the lemon test is a 3-pronged test that the Supreme Court uses to evaluate whether a law or governmental activity violates the Establishment Clause of the Constitution. The First Amendment, okay? The lemon test is how the Supreme Court tests the First Amendment. To be constitutional, a statute must have, quote, a secular legislative purpose. It must have principal effects that neither advance nor inhibit religion. And it must not foster, quote, an excessive government entanglement with religion. True or false?
Hold on. Oh, okay. To be constitutional, a statute must have a secular legislative purpose. It must have principal effects that neither advance nor inhibit religion, and it must not foster an excessive government. Oh my God, why are these so long?
This is why I'm a fan of limes.
Is it because it's sour to go through all this? Is that what it is?
Oh,
Hey.
Bada boom.
Did we get points for jokes? Because that's what I've been
make
trying
a
to
good
do all the
one.
time.
Oh.
All right, so no points. No points. No points. What about attempted jokes? How much do we get for attempted jokes?
So many. You could be a legislator and be a joke.
Constitution, statute, with secular legislature, it must have principal effects that neither advance nor advance. This looks like it makes sense. I'm gonna go with yes, but lemon law sounds stupid, but those people are dumb. So let's go with yes.
It's yes and a point for a joke. Not really, but good job. Put it off on the side. Okay, here's some even more words, Aaron, that I'm not going to understand, nor will you. In Hosanna Tabor, Evangelical Lutheran Church and School versus the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that federal discrimination laws do not apply to religious organizations' selection of religious leaders. True or false?
Unanimously.
That means all 5 of them agreed.
I watch boxing. I know what unanimously means. I'm gonna say
no idea.
I'm gonna say true because all of this sounds like, hey, if we want to discriminate against somebody, we can because we pray to Jesus, and Jesus says we can't.
True. You're right. It's true.
No.
Yes, that's why why like a religious school can, pick a man and not a woman, or a white person and not a black person.
And they can literally say, yeah, we chose a man because he's a man, and they could not get any back flack for it, right?
Right. I mean, that was what this case was about. I say with such confidence, like I'd ever heard of it before 5 minutes ago.
Jesus, Texas, our Texas.
Oh, Texas, God hail thy mighty state.
I haven't heard that song in forever.
Texas. You don't sing it every night?
Nah,
I thought that's how you had to go to bed. That's the only way you're allowed to go to bed is if you pray. If you pray Texas.
Pray to Okay, moving on.
National Texan Anthem thing? Is that a thing?
We have several.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We have a pledge to Texas. Do you have a pledge to Boston? Like
No,
there's the pledge of allegiance.
that's the regular pledge. That's what the pledge to
And
Boston.
We got two.
And it would be Massachusetts.
So I don't know if y'all had to do this, but in school we had to do the Pledge of Allegiance on our heart, and then when you do the pledge to Texas, you do your hand out like this because you give your heart to Texas.
Oh my God.
Brainwashed is what I'm trying to say.
That's good. I'm going to use that for my cult.
Yeah.
Do it. Are you going to call it like the Lulus? The Lulus?
I don't know if that's Lululemon. I feel like already took that name. So
It could be Lulu Lime. Okay, moving on. Back to Peter. In 1992, Congress passed a resolution making January 16th Religious Freedom Day and has been reaffirmed by every president since 1992 except for Barack Obama. True or false?
what the hell's Religious Freedom Day?
Every day in the United
God
States.
bless you, Texas. Lord, hell, I'm a
Okay. So all right. Well,
It's kind of like that day where you could kill people once a year. What was that movie
The
called?
Purge?
Yeah. So Religious Freedom Day is when you can just kill other people in the name of your religion with absolutely no consequences.
I'll go false on this one because Martin Luther King Day is on the 16th a lot.
Okay, you're right. It's false. But only because there is a Religious Freedom Day and every president has reaffirmed it. Nobody has not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Obama would never I feel like he would reaffirm this. I feel like Fox News would eat that shit up if he decided not to.
Yeah.
And oh man, they would have tried to impeach him for trying to do that, I bet. Our country's backwards.
Okay, here we go. Was that really just 3? Oh my God. Okay. We're just going to move on. Okay. The separation of church and state did not become constitutional canon, which means like a big deal. Until
I watch anime. I know what canon means.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, that's canon. Harry Potter, Cursed Child.
Mhm.
Exactly.
What does canon mean? I don't understand.
Harold Bloom. Canon.
Like a part of the original story.
It's like
Yeah.
a collection.
Is that right,
of all
Aaron?
the- Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
so,
central classic.
So the Star Wars shows and stuff like that, some of them are canon to the actual Star Wars stories, and then others are not. Like George Lucas is not.
You and Aaron are canon to Over the Ledge. I am not canon to Over the Ledge.
There we
Thank
go.
you. I understand that now.
You're
The
welcome.
essentials. The essentials.
Okay, so you can read it below. The separation of church and state did not become constitutional canon until the mid-20th century with incorporation of the Bill of Rights to states through the 14th Amendment.
Wait,
False.
is this me?
True or false?
It's me. It's false.
This is Aaron.
It's actually true.
Oh,
It wasn't
shit.
a big deal.
Really?
You
Yeah.
spent too much time talking about canon.
Too much time about
Wilma.
canon. Okay, next one. Back to Peter. In 2014, the Supreme Court held in Town of Greece versus Galloway that, quote, it is an elemental First Amendment principle that government may not, coerce its citizens to support or participate in any religion or its exercise thereof.
Bill was a food with the grill may not cause support our position.
I just want to say, when you said the town of Grace versus Galloway, Jonathan went, like it's like
yeah,
a fond memory.
Oh, this is one of my favorite Supreme Court cases. Yes, needs its own Netflix special.
Good
Gives you a
idea.
hint. You can ask Peter.
This seems true, unless it's false. But I'm gonna go with.
Great
Looking
logic,
I have
man.
no idea.
He went with what?
I'm gonna go with. You know what? Jonathan makes me think I'm wrong, but I'm gonna.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna go true.
It's true. You're right. It's true.
Nailed it.
All
You may
right.
not coerce its citizen.
Always
I mean,
go with your guts.
Right. I guess unless you're in Texas and there is a period for reading the Bible. Okay, final question. Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Which previously mentioned Texas legislative bill mentions the lemon test? And I'm going to give you some choices because this is too hard. So hold
That was
on.
my question.
Thought it was a Lyme test. What?
Related.
Whose question is it?
As Lyme disease.
It's mine.
Okay. Hold on. I'm bringing up your whole. Everything's good here. Don't worry. Okay, you have 4 bills. Which one of these mentions the lemon test in it? House Bill 2399 by Mays Middleton.
Dude, 4 digits? You didn't tell me it was going to be 4 digits.
They're all fucking 4 digits.
Okay.
Okay,
What House Bill?
SJR 27 by Peter Lebowski. HB 2401 by Senator Hall. And House Bill 3001 by State Rep Jeff Kaysen.
Big Lebowski is my favorite movie, so we're going with the B.
Dude,
Sorry, I made that up. I don't know who had that bill, but it was actually the Mays Middleton bill, 2329. 2399. Yeah, man.
Bamboozled by
I'm
the
sorry.
dude.
Actually, it was 2401. It didn't even happen.
Just give me
Okay.
the point. Just we're
Okay,
here.
We're gonna try again. What is the 14th Amendment?
Oh, that's the. No,
No, Aaron, because I messed up that other one.
it's not voting. Voting's 15.
Peter, that
Well,
does
that
nothing
depends
for
what
me.
race and gender you are. Voting is 15.
Oh, wait, no, 14th
Got it
Amendment
earlier,
is that it gives the woman the right to vote?
Or
Well, I don't, dude, I'm lucky I got that. I don't. Or
all right, it gives.
oh, it's
I'm pretty sure it frees the slaves, guys.
oh, does it?
It's a-
Citizen, yeah, grants citizenship to all persons born,
Oh,
including
hell.
former enslaved. Yeah,
Dang it.
awkward.
It's okay. He wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
Amy,
wouldn't.
what happened? What just happened?
And
And
we are
save
still implementing that amendment today, sadly.
Is 15
Really,
voting though? 15's voting though, right?
Peter?
I just want to know if 15's voting.
He just wants to know he knows one of them.
19th
is for women.
Oh,
19th
damn.
is
Okay.
women getting the right to vote.
So 15 is probably not voting.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking it up. 14
15th is voting.
is
15th is right to vote.
13, 14, 15.
Our special guest knows.
Wow.
The Google's
I
telling me.
studied this.
This is the right of citizens to vote. You're right. Okay. How about Amendment 21, huh?
I didn't know it kept going that long.
I think that's prohibition. It repeals the 18th Amendment. Okay, this is none of our business. The Constitution. How did
How
we
many
do, Amy?
amendments are there?
This has nothing to do with Texas politics. The
I
amendments are
think
really
27.
not germane.
Okay.
69.
Nice.
Who won? What happened?
Someone made a sex
Who said that?
6-4. Peter wins 6-4. He is the most
Jesus.
knowledgeable comedian in Austin.
I didn't even know it got up to 4.
All right, let's take a picture.
Well, I studied very hard for this, guys, so I want to give my speech now. You know, hard work, dedication, and a third thing that I couldn't think of. So we're just gonna go with that. Yeah, hard work, dedication, and being in Texas once in my life. I think that's what it did.
Congratulations.
We'll take it, man. We'll take it.
Dang it. Okay, Amy, now that we have 30 seconds left.
All right. Now that you know all there is to know about the latest shenanigans of the Texas legislature, let's meet our very special guest, Jonathan Connors.
Hello.
There's our
hello,
audience.
hello.
I'm so excited that you joined us tonight, Jonathan.
Yes, I'm glad because I think we were talking about doing June 4th and I couldn't make that work. So when this opened up, it's perfect timing.
I'm so glad. Yeah, Rep Rose was like, I hear Jonathan wants to be on the show. And I just
Did she?
step aside for her. Yeah, for him. Yeah, she was really.
She said, I can help you kill this bill in calendars, or you can be on Over the Ledge. And I said, give me Over the Ledge.
That's a true friend and not just a lobbyist who pretends to be one.
That's
Let's
right.
Let's jump right into it. What do you mean by killing a bill?
What do I mean by killing a bill?
What does when we in the know say so and so killed my bill? What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's getting it to the point where there is no way that it can pass and become law anymore. Is that and there's a bunch of different ways to skin that cat. There are a bunch of different ways to kill a bill. Does that answer the?
That is, yeah.
This,
give
okay.
me 3 ways to kill it.
Sure. So there's something
Arsenic.
called. Yeah, sure. Stabbing, shooting.
A grenade in the game room.
Yes, exactly. There's something called a poo, which is my favorite. The point of order on the House floor, where you can kill something procedurally. You can get something stuck in the secret elusive calendars committee, which is the committee that all bills in the House go to after they leave committee, double committee. You can another way is just vote it down on the floor. That's another way. Kidnap the bill author and hold their family hostage.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of ways. My personal favorite is the point of order, where somebody, and this really only works in the House and not in the Senate, somebody gets up and calls a procedural order on a bill, and it's really nerdy and in the weeds. It's like playing board games at that point. And, on page 7, it says may and not shall. And in this document, you said shall, and then that kills the bill. It's silly things like that.
Well, and so for example, the bill you and I are working on, and I don't want to say its number or name so that no one gets any idea about a point of order. We got a bill analysis back.
Yep.
That was inaccurate.
That's right. So every bill, once it's moved out of committee, it gets a couple of things. It gets a bill analysis, which is basically a summary of the bill and what it does and the background and purpose. It also gets what's called a fiscal note, which is an explanation of the cost of the bill, if there is any, to the state or to any local governments. And those sorts of you can call a point of order on a bill based off of its bill analysis if the bill analysis is misleading or doesn't accurately reflect what the bill does. So last night, the bill Stephanie and I were working on, we got the bill analysis back, and it was just flat out wrong, which would have opened it up to a procedural point of order on the floor to kill it. So we had to scramble last night to fix that. Very exciting stuff.
It really was. For us, it was super exciting.
Oh, yeah, it's very exciting.
And then
BAs and fiscal notes.
Yeah. And then this morning, Jasmine, one of my employees, loves that I talk about her on the podcast. So this is for you, Jasmine. But I'd asked her to send it last night. And then this morning, I was talking to her. I was like, did you send it? She's like, no, I haven't. And it's like, that's 12 hours. We just lost 12 friggin' hours. Like, we're at that point in the game right now where every moment counts, which is, again, super exciting for you and I as nerds.
Oh, yes, it is.
So speaking of us being nerds, what kind of person does it take to be a legislative staffer? And talk to me about the difference between being a staffer versus a lobbyist.
Ooh, I think there's a bunch of different types of folks that can be staffer. I kind of like to think of there's relationship people and then there's policy people. And depending on the kind of person you are, you kind of go down a different path. I think the most effective people are both. You have the right relationships and you also have a policy understanding. So you actually understand what you're talking about. And, being a staffer is really interesting because your boss is that member, which means your boss is ultimately the people that member represents, or that's how it should be. And during the legislative session, it is 24/7 craziness, bills, budget, all those sorts of things. And it's different if you're working in the House or the Senate. In the House, they usually have smaller staff, and smaller, not Briscoe Kane smaller, but smaller numbers smaller. So you are doing a lot more. You're kind of a jack of all trades, because you're covering a bunch of different committees, bunch of different policy topics, those sorts of things. A member might have 2 or 3 staff, and 2 of those 3 might be interns who have, never worked in the legislature before. In the Senate, you can have staffs of 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 people if you're a chair of a committee, and you kind of become a policy expert in something, and you're the go-to person on foster care, or the go-to person on, judicial rights, or whatever it is. So depending on which chamber you're in, your role is a little different, but it's kind of 24/7 hands-on. You're responsive to the member you work for and the other members in that chamber. I'm still fresh to lobbying. It's different. I work for a small lobbying group, and my role primarily within that group is the policy guy, because I drew the short straw and learned healthcare policy in the building, in the Capitol. Yeah. So I'm a lot of the stats and putting together the arguments and researching and hospital finance and, connecting the dots. And then there's other folks that do a lot of the other relationship building. But, like I said earlier, the most effective people are the people who do both. So I'm learning more of that relationship piece of lobbying, but I also want to make sure that I always know the policy, so I know what the heck I'm talking about when I'm talking to people. Because I think that's really important. And if I didn't have that, I probably would not be able to sleep at night.
Oh, let's talk about not being able to sleep at night.
Sure, let's do it.
How do you think our legislators sleep at night?
Oh, I think they sleep comfortably.
Lots of drugs.
Most of them. Yeah,
Lots
drugs
of drugs,
and alcohol,
lots of women. So let's
steaks.
talk about that. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we had a big scandal where a lobbyist was allegedly drugged a woman with a date rape drug. Then it went away, and the DA said there's no crime here, or there's not enough evidence. And then the rumor mill is running rampant about that this girl made up the story, but we really don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know any of that. I know there's that bill that's going. I don't really know much about this. There's that bill that's going through the legislature that would require lobbying members to take sexual harassment training. I had to take sexual harassment training as a legislative staffer after.
What's your favorite way of sexually harassing people? You got out of the training. I mean,
Fine. The training was terrible. Terribly awesome, because all of the videos they use are like 1983, high school videos that are, and you're learning things, or you're really not learning things. But I mean, it's one of those things that the first off, the building's like a high school, and we've all been to high school or something like it, and we know what that's like. And the buildings like that with adults who are drinking heavily, and the Texas
incredibly powerful. They're incredibly powerful people.
And it's still very much a bro culture at the Capitol. And, it's one of those things that sadly takes time to chip away at that bro culture. But there are some really strong female leaders in the building, like Representative Sophronia Thompson, who has that bill that would require sexual harassment training. And that, just because people are going to take sexual harassment training does not mean it's going to go away. And it takes folks standing up and saying, this is wrong, don't do that sort of thing, that I think there needs to be more of, so that people who are sexually harassed feel safe to come out and talk about those things. And then that people who do those sorts of things are held accountable, obviously. But the Capitol's a high school. It's still very much a bro culture. But it's one of those things that I do feel like we're slowly chipping away at. What do they say? You need at least 3 legislative sessions to pass a bill. You're probably going to need about 300 years to start slowly actually making progress on this issue, which is a little sad, but
which apparently we've made an incredible amount of progress based on anyone you talk to who was in the building in the 80s and 90s before there were cameras. And side note, we just came up with Over the Ledge's next live show. It is High School Musical, the Texas Legislature edition.
I like that.
Get ready, Amy. Get ready. Okay, Jonathan, what lesson? I feel like I learn a new lesson every session. Sometimes that brings me joy. Generally, that just makes me even sadder about working in that building. What hard lesson did you learn this session, and how would you ask people to apply that to their political decision-making skills in the future?
Interesting. Transparency and communication is key. And I know that sounds simple and silly, but I learned the hard way this session on this other bill that I was working on with a couple of other folks and associations. And, we were all together at one point, then we kind of split on the bill, and there was a communication breakdown because everybody's working on 15,000 different bills and following this in the budget and all those sorts of things. But I think the number one thing that I've learned this session is communication is key. When you learn about bill movement, or if you are going to offer some sort of language to alter a bill, the best course of action is to share that with all parties involved beforehand, so you can have those conversations, because ultimately what that leads to is solving issues before they become issues, right? And that's what communication in the building usually does. And that was one of the big lessons I've learned this session, and I think is something that everyone could apply to everyday life. Communication is key.
I think you're exactly right. Solving a problem before it's an issue. I like that a lot. Any of our guests have a question for Jonathan?
I like to say I'm very disappointed in Jonathan. He knows so much about everything clearly and did not help me at all.
You won.
He won.
That was a cup.
I was like, you want water? What is... okay, fine.
We got you those 2.2.
That's right. Hey.
Better communication is what I'm saying, Jonathan. Better communication. Guys, I understand sign language.
And that's why I did it.
It's the easiest one to know for sign language, though. It's literally the letter.
Look, who won? Okay.
Fair. You're not wrong.
I was confusing with that on purpose, so I could just wrap it all together here at the end. Communication is key. Bring it all around.
There you go.
You played into that perfectly.
Communication is C. That's what you should say. What did you want to ask, Aaron?
Transparent.
I do have a question, only because, as you can imagine, when we have either a left-leaning or Democratic folks on our show, which oddly enough is a lot of them, it's a lot of defense. So do you find yourself playing more defense than anything? And then if you are, is that incredibly frustrating? Because I can imagine it is.
So I think primarily for most people in the Capitol, it on the lobby side, over half of what you're doing is defense. And that includes defending things that you are offensively moving, if that makes sense, because people are trying to amend things on it, tweak it, maybe amend it to make it do the opposite. But the Texas legislature is set up is a killing machine. It's designed to kill, and that's for a good thing, because we don't want necessarily all of those bills that Stephanie mentioned earlier to be able to fly through a legislative process that's designed to pass things, right? But so primarily it's defense, and defense in the Texas legislature is easier than offense.
Have you ever worked for someone in the party in charge? And what is that like? Yeah. I've only worked for people in the minority. And so we try and are lucky to, name a highway after some local person. Do you feel more powerful? Do you feel like you're above the law? Like tell me what drunk on power feels like.
I have zero power. It just makes my job easier.
How many crimes?
I worked it for somebody who was in the power, who was also or in the majority, who was also a chair of the committee. What that meant is every bill that was that individual's bill, who he's the chair of, we can get the votes and move that sucker like no one's business. So that's easier and nice because it's less work. But usually when you're in power, especially in one chamber compared to the other, you have a target on your back. And moving that bill through the opposite chamber becomes a little more difficult, even though you are the member you're working for is of the same party that's leading in both chambers. But I have zero power.
That is smart to point out that I'd say the House and Senate dynamic is top, then the party dynamic, and then, of course, personal vendettas.
Oh, yeah. There's tons of bills that are going to die just because some member ticks some other member off, and that member's name happens to be on a bill. Doesn't matter what the policy is. Yeah. That bill's dead. Yeah. That's how the system works.
All right, let's wind us down, Amy. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Yep.
Thank you so much to Aaron and Peter and our Over the Ledge benevolent empress, Stephanie Chiarello. And thank you, Jonathan, for taking the time to talk to us.
Yes, thank y'all for having me.
Yay. So articulate and wise and kind and smart.
He's a rambler.
And thank you to Mariah Gossett for recording us and making us sound good, and to our lead correspondent interns who worked on tonight's show, Benedict Parks and
Benedict. Parks.
Thank you, Benedict. All right.
Thank you, Benedict. All the interns are graduating this weekend. Bless their hearts.
Oh, congratulations.
Guys.
Yes. Very awesome. And so Benedict stepped up to the plate, and I think Caitlin also helped with scheduling and some graphics. Thank you to our wonderful announcer, Amy Lowry.
My pleasure. And that's our show. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok as @OverTheLedge with no D. Freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05. So please consider supporting Over the Ledge with a contribution so we can keep edutaining you about the Texas legislature. You may become a patron at patreon.com/overtheledge.
And thank you to our 4 watchers, who I'm sure my parents are 2 of.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you, everybody. Jonathan, I hope you're going to join our team. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And can I say Benedict? Sweet name, man.
Good name.
Solid name. Solid name.
Good name, good eggs.
Yeah. Amy, Stephanie, Aaron, Jonathan, Peter. Benedict.
Whatever.
Wow.
When I worked with Benedict,